Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Well, it was about time I did an update on the 37 Chevy that we're doing for the Scale Builds a Gentleman group build hosted by Styrene Relics. And although at first glance it doesn't look like I've made a whole lot of progress, I've actually done a lot of different little things to this thing. And that's what's taken so long. I'm doing little modifications that are taking, a significant amount of time. So we're going to take a look at what I have done. So you guys know that basically I lowered the stance on it and channeled the body over the frame. And if you've ever built this, you know that this usually sits on top of the frame. And I've got it taped so it stays down, so once I glue it, it's going to stay in place. If you notice, I did go with the rear fenders. I don't know why. It was a snap decision. I was like, you know what? We're trying to cheat the wind. We're trying to get the tires out of the wind, and we're going to go with the rear fenders. The fronts, we're going to keep it open wheel like this, but it doesn't look too bad. It almost looks like the box, only this is going to be lower. All right, so what else did I do? All right, these filler panels here, once I lowered this down and did all the modifications to the chassis, I had to refab these, and they no longer fit. So I had to do a lot of chopping. All this red Bondo you see is all filler pieces. I had to make a bunch of little patch panels to fit them in and everything. We'll look at the other side as well. Same thing here, where you see all the red little Bondo pieces, or Bondo spots, is where I've got little filler pieces in there. This whole piece right here is all filled in. We also filled in a little bit on the nose down here. And how this happened was when I was fitting up the hood, I had this setting and I was trying to get the hood lower and lower and lower. So I actually took some out of the grill shell here. And once I got this hood on here, and we'll talk about this in a second, I realized that I cut a little bit too much off, and there was going to be a gap once I fit it all together. So I went ahead and I put a filler piece in here, and I bonded it, filled it in, and everything like that. And the black you see is black acrylic paint that I was using as like a primer to see if there was any spots that I needed to fill in. You won't see that once it's done. So I was talking to George Woods. I don't know if you're familiar with George Woods, but he's a friend of Sean's Scale Model Car Guy channel, and he and I talk from time to time, and I like talking to those old timers. Sorry, George, you are an old timer, and they can impart a lot of wisdom on you. They've been around a long time. They've seen most of these kits multiple times, and he was watching one of my videos, and he said, I like what you did with the hood, but it's going to take a really long time for you to get that hood fitting right. Just a lot of work that's not going to, be worth it in the end. He said that clear hood has always fit the best, and it actually looks the best once the kit's done. So I took the clear hood out of the box and I started working with it. And I got to tell you, George was 100% correct. It fits way better than that two-piece hood was fitting. It sits down in there. I made a couple corrections on it. I mean, you can see it. It's sanded right now. I sanded it, so. And you can see it's smooth. So we're going to do some other stuff to this. So we're not quite done. We're not ready for paint. We still have some modifications to make. I think I'm going to do some louvers in the sides and in the top of the hood. Possibly the roof and the deck lid as well. So let's take this hood off and take a look at what I've done in here. In order to get that engine fitting correctly, now I still have some work to do. You look in here and it looks like a mouse chewed some. That was me with my Dremel stylo. I had to take some out of here so the box stock engine would fit in there. The back of the head was rubbing on the firewall, and when you put the header on there, it would not fit. So we had to take some out. I got it fitting properly, and I had a change of heart, and we'll talk about that in a second, but I got to do some filling and fixing in there, and we're going to be okay. Yeah, nothing else has been done other than, you know, putting these rear fenders. I sanded off all the drip rails. You ever notice on the box here, you can see it had drip rails that went down. I removed all them, smoothed them all out. Then I had to rescribe all the panel lines in the doors to make them stand out. Let's take a look at this engine. So the oil pan was hitting the center link under here, and it was pushing it and making it look funky. So Don over there, Don's garage, and I were talking about what we could do. Now first we were talking about putting a piece in here that would kick up and clear the oil pan. But then I was like, you know what, I can fix this oil pan. I can cut this oil pan up and I can refill it. And that's what I did. I don't know if you could see that, but I cut it all apart and I filled it from the inside actually. Smoothed it out, used a Tamiya extra thin, and sanded it, filled the holes with super glue and some baking soda. So that's what it looks on the inside. You can see the styrene pieces in there. And we put a styrene piece here. I filled it in and I smoothed it, sanded it out. It looks pretty good. We're not going to use this one now. Why? Because I bought the Iceman Collections Stove Bolt 6. And I compared the oil pans, and the Iceman Collections oil pan is a lower profile altogether. So it's going to clear everything that I was working on that oil pan to clear. So this looks pretty cool. If you notice, everything is spinned. So it has the Offenhauser valve cover here, and it's spinned. The valve cover breather is spinned even. Oil pan is spinned. The timing cover is spinned. The air cleaner here is spinned. And my last video I was talking about the detail on these carbs, but I had it left in the bag, and I don't know how well you guys could see it, but if you look at these carbs right here, they have an awful lot of detail. And you guys would know about that had bought Iceman Collections products before. You know the quality of them. I'm pretty impressed. And we're going to take our time with this. Obviously, we've got to cut it off the supports. We're going to have to clean it up. We're going to have to sand it up. We're going to have to paint it up. And then we're going to have to assemble it. And I think this is going to work out a lot better. It's going to look more the part for what we're trying to accomplish here. The price on this wasn't too bad either. I think it was 20 bucks plus $6 shipping off of eBay. So yeah, pretty impressed. Pretty impressed. So what more do I have to do on this? Well, not much more. I think we're just about there now that we have the engine. I'm probably going to do some work on that engine before I continue on this. And we're going to get that engine assembled and getting in the chassis there to make sure I don't have to do any more modifications. Once I'm positive I don't have to do any more modifications, then we will go ahead and pull this all back apart, and I will fill in this firewall here, smooth it out because it is kind of rough right here where I was cutting and chopping and grinding. We'll clean that up and then fill it in, and we'll start painting. So that's pretty much about all I got. If you guys have any questions, leave your questions, comments, concerns down below in the comment section, and I will try to get back to you in an orderly fashion. I'm just kidding. No, but if you have any questions or anything, go ahead and leave them down in the comment section. I'd be happy to answer them. Guys, I thank you for watching my videos. I hope you enjoyed this one. I hope you're looking forward to seeing the final on this real soon. Alright guys, thanks for watching and happy modeling.